Hi friends, how we doing? How is everyone enjoying Prime so far? We doing good? I think we are doing good. You guys, we are just getting started. It's only Monday. We have a whole week of wonderful things coming your way. I hope that you are hanging in there and checking out all the sales as they roll on over and enjoying and maybe crossing your fingers a little bit for your very favorite thing to go on sale. So many good ones, you guys. And they're all a secret. Sorry. I can't tell you any of the secrets. Actually, you know what? I can. I have a secret. So I do have a secret about one of the deals that is coming up, but I'm going to hold off because we've only got about 34 people so far rolling on in. I'm going to let a few more people trickle on in before I give you guys some insider information, because you came to hang out with me, and your present for coming to hang out with me is a little, what shall we call it? It's a pregame. We're doing the pregame workup, right? Oh gosh. Hey Jennifer, hey Lori. Sherry says, twice in one day, so lucky. Oh, let me tell you, you guys are getting me twice today. So this is number 2 for me today. You're going to get me twice tomorrow, 11 and 7, just like today, Eastern time, you guys. You're going to get me on Wednesday, 11 and 7. And then on Thursday, you're going to get me at 11 o'clock. You're going to get me at 2 p.m. with Beaded, and you're going to get me at 7 o'clock again here at Jesse James Beads. So by the end of the week, you may never want to see me again. I hope not, but you never know. You'll be like, oh, it's that Sarah girl again. Oh, here we go. But hopefully not. Hopefully I'm giving you guys some fun project inspiration and some fun ideas that you can take and run with and combine with all of the wonderful sales that are going on all week long. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm pumped up. It is only Monday. We've got a whole week ahead of us. Lots and lots of good stuff coming up, you guys. So it looks like we do have quite a few people here, so I'll give you the insider scoop now, and then I'll give it to you again right before you go, just so you get it twice, just in case you come in. But the insider scoop just happens to be that at 8 p.m., which just happens to be a little under an hour from now, the next deal coming up is 30% off cord, right? Cord. That's going to be fairy silk. That's going to be your leather cord. That's going to be your kind of the thick leather strap. So you heard it here. Nobody else gets to know, just you guys. Nobody else gets to know. Everybody else has to just wait and see and be surprised. But you guys get the little inside scoop for tonight. So part of the reason that you are getting the inside scoop is because today's project, or tonight's project rather, since we've already been together once already, but our project for tonight actually involves 2 different kinds of leather cord. So it's only fitting that I give you a heads up that at 8 o'clock when we're done here, you can go and it'll be part of the Prime deals. So stick around here, and then when we're done, go load up your cart with all of your favorite cords and get a head start before everybody who didn't come to join us. All right. Okay, so what are we doing tonight? Well, tonight we're using a bead mix. This one is, let's see, Designed by Me Inspiration Bead Mix in gray. And this is a really beautiful bead mix. This one is a Designed by Me, which is the Walmart, it's Jesse James Beads Walmart line. And you can get the Jesse James Beads at Walmart in almost all of the Walmarts, right? But you definitely can get the entire line on jessejamesbeads.com. So if perhaps you had your eye earlier on one of these Designed by Me mixes, but you didn't grab it when the 40% off the mixes was going on, you guys, the Walmart mixes are priced really affordably, and they're gorgeous. So maybe you don't get the deal on the mix, but you do get the deal on the cord, and that's just as good, and you can still have both, right? Following my logic there? That's shopper's logic if I ever heard any, right? You can tell I'm a diehard shopper. I love to shop and I love a good deal. That's why this week is so exciting to me. Okay, so what are we doing? We're creating a necklace. And this is actually a designer knockoff. I'm not going to name the designer because that's really just not fair, right? But this is a designer knockoff necklace that features two different kinds of cord. And one of the cords that is involved in this necklace, not only is it beautiful and adds like an extra kind of, it just adds a different touch that I've never seen in a necklace before, but it's also functional, which I love. I love it when you can take something that is gorgeous and it actually serves a really good purpose. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're going to create a necklace. We're going to use these gorgeous beads. We're going to be using some black cord. Okay, you can grab this, put it in your cart. Put it in your cart. Some of this gorgeous black cord. And we're also using the West Coast Tan, this large cord. Now, this stuff is great for making bracelets, right? It makes the coolest bracelets. It makes really good, just plain bracelets. You could wire wrap beads to this. You could hang charms from this, whatever you wanted to. But this is actually the neck piece of our necklace tonight, right? Sounds weird, but just bear with me, right? Whoever the designer was, they had a really smart, they were thinking really smart about this. So some of you are going to love this. Some of you are going to think this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen, but just realize that it's more about the techniques that I'm showing you and the use of the cord. We're going to do some knotting that we've done before. We're going to do the slip knots that you can move, and we're going to create a beautiful necklace, whether you enjoy the leather strap part or not. Okay, so you're not going to hurt my feelings if you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. Let me roll through and see. There is Miss Jane and Joan, right? Jane says, can you see me? Jane, are you hiding? Let's see. So fun to see you so much. I feel that same way. I'm so glad. So glad. I'm just scrolling back because normally if Jane says something like that, it means that there was a question that I missed. So, okay. All right, guys, let's get to it, shall we? Let's do this. We're going to create a really, really cool necklace, and these are the beads that we're going to be using. I love. So the Designed by Me mixes, this is one of the inspiration mixes, and it comes in, just so you guys know what to expect, it comes in one of these little plastic pillow containers, right? And they are always packed full of the most beautiful beads ever. And this one has this gorgeous pendant that I could not just ignore, right? So this is going to be the centerpiece of our necklace. I feel like it deserves to be the centerpiece. It's absolutely gorgeous. We're going to take some beads. Let's see here. We're going to use these big, look how beautiful. The glass beads in these mixes are absolutely amazing. So we're going to use some of those. And then there are some smaller rondelles in this gorgeous gray blue. We'll put those on either side there. I'm just going to lay the beads out so you guys can kind of get a feel for where we're going. Like just a little roadmap, if you will. These guys, those are gorgeous. Those are going to go there. Okay, so these are the beads that we're going to use. Not a lot of beads, and that's okay because we have a lot left over that we can use for other things, right? I have to show off the ceramic beads. I love ceramic beads, and you guys, I don't know if you know this or not. If you're new to Jessie James Beads, you may not be aware, but there are a ton of ceramic beads that are sprinkled throughout all of the strands and the mixes that are available through Jessie James Beads, and they are some of the most beautiful ceramic you have ever seen. And if you have ever shopped ceramic beads on their own, you know that they are very expensive and pricey. So to get these in mixes is like a treat, right? It's just this extra kind of like icing on the cake. I have cake on the brain. thinking about cake. I'm gonna have some. There are beautiful cage beads in here. There's a gorgeous boho with the mother of pearl chips all over it. So, so beautiful. This glass bead that I love. And then of course you're gonna get check glass beads, you're gonna get metal beads. So these mixes, even though they are priced really affordably, don't be put off by that. Don't think that in any way, shape, or form did Jessie James Beads skimp on these mixes, because I can promise you they did not. They are gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So these are the beads that we're going to use, and I already showed you the cord. We're going to use 2 pieces of some black cord, okay, and then we're going to use a piece of the flat West Coast tan cord for this. But to get started, let's start out with just our focal here in the center, this little section. We're going to do some wire wrapping. Oh my gosh, Tina, happy early birthday. You got to get a cupcake or a cake or something cakey. You just have to. You can't not do cake. All right, so we've got some jump rings. We're going to use our jump rings, and I have cut, let's see, 4 pieces of 22 gauge wire. They are, these are a little bit longer. I'd say 4.5 to 5 inches. That might be a little overkill, but these beads are a little bit bigger than what we normally wire wrap. So I wanted to be sure that I had plenty of wire to work with. And we are gonna do some wrapped loops, and we're just gonna attach everything together with some jump rings. Hold on, let me just wanted to zoom in. I have the picture over here. I made this necklace yesterday, and then I take things apart, and sometimes I forget whether I wire wrap them as a chain or if I connect them with jump rings. This is going to be connected with jump rings. I was just checking. All right, so we're going to come down on that wire about 1.5 inches with our chain nose pliers, and we're going to give it a good bend. Straighten out both sections. Just makes it a little easier to work with when you straighten it out. And we are going to come in with our round nose pliers, and we're going to grab that wire that is running between the barrel of the pliers. We're just going to hold that tool still and take the wire up and over the top barrel of the pliers. Okay, then we're going to roll the pliers out of the way so that we can go ahead and take that wire on over to the other side. When you take it off, this is what you're going to be looking at. Okay. All right, put that back on the tool, and let's switch hands, and we're going to do a wire wrap. We're going to do about 3 wraps directly underneath the loop that we just made, and we're basically just creating an eye pin with a wrapped loop. Okay, so now we want to come in with our cutter tool and trim off our tail, because we don't need that. You want to be sure that you're cutting as close to your wraps as possible so that you don't have any extra wire sticking out that's going to scrape up against you or get caught on your clothing. So just run your finger across that and make sure. Okay. All right, now we're going to thread on our beads. So for our first little beaded section, we're doing 3 rondelles. So there's that guy, this big beautiful bead, and this one. Okay, so now what we want to do is we just want to repeat the wire wrapping on the other end. And so we're just going to grab that wire right where it is exiting the bead with our chain nose pliers, and we're going to give it a good bend. And when we take away, we've got that space there. See the space between the bend in the wire and the top of the bead? That is important to have so that we can then come in with the round nose pliers, and they're going to fit right in there. Take that wire up and over, roll the pliers out of the way, and then take your wire over to the other side. And then you can switch hands, and we're going to wire wrap between the loop and the top of the bead here. And you can do this with your fingers, you can do this with pliers, it's whatever you are most comfortable with. But once you have your loop created, now we want to come in and trim off the tail. So I see we've got a lot of people here tonight. So for those of you who are just now joining us, we are putting together a fun necklace using a Designed by Me bead mix from Jessie James Beads. We're using the one in gray, and we're using some cord, and we're celebrating this week. We're having the Prime deals going on all week long. Right now, the Prime deal that is happening at the moment is check glass beads, and coming up at 8 o'clock is 30% off cord. So if you've got your eye on cord, or if you're interested in the cord that we're going to be using in today's project, you might want to go ahead and put that in your cart, because you've got the insider scoop on that. All right, up and over. We're just repeating the same steps to create a wrapped loop. And you'll notice one of them I did with my fingers, this one I'm doing with my pliers, just however you're feeling at the time. And if you don't want to do the wrapped loops, if you're not confident in your wrapped loops, or you know, you don't want to do wrapped loops, you can do simple loops. It'll be just fine. It'll still work out the same way. In fact, if you wanted to skip the loops on your pre-cut pieces, you could use eye pins for this as well. All right, so we're going to put on another one of our beads, and this one is just going to be a single bead, and we are going to go ahead and create our wire wraps. So I'm grabbing that wire right where it is exiting the bead, bending, coming in with the round nose pliers to go up and over, and then on around. And there we go. All right, so we have our second bead ready to go. Jane says she prefers wrapped loops for security. I do too. I prefer them for the security and just because they're fun. Those of you who are not confident in your wrapped loops, you're probably scratching your head going, what? How could they possibly be fun? They're a pain. But I promise, if you practice your wrapped loops, you'll get to a point where it just becomes second nature, and it does become fun. It's repetitive, of course, but I don't know, and maybe it's just me, but there's something really satisfying about a good tight wire wrap. I don't know what it is. I just love wire. I think that's really what the key to it is, and not everybody does, and that's okay, right? We're all different. That's why all of the jewelry in the world is so amazing. We were all the same, we'd all have the most boring jewelry ever. All right, so I'm just creating another little beaded section here, and we're going to do another wrapped loop right here on the other end. Terry says she loves doing wrapped loops. I do too. I really, really do. I used to not. I was not a fan for a really long time, and I think part of my problem was I used 20 gauge wire for the longest time. I thought 20 gauge wire was the answer to all of the world's problems, and my loops never turned out as good as I wanted them to, and so I don't really remember what caused me to switch to the 22 gauge, but once I switched to the 22 gauge, it made all the difference in the world for my loops. And I know people that it's the opposite. They were using 22 and were not very good at their loops, and they switched to 20. So it's really kind of a personal preference. So if you're having a hard time with your loops and you envision them to be beautiful, and no matter what you do, you're still struggling with them, play around with the sizes of wire. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nobody ever said that 20 or 22 is the end all be all of jewelry making. You figure out what works best for you, and then you do it, right? All right, getting close here to having all of our little wrapped loops together, and we'll be ready to create some knots with our cord. Hey Wanda, how you doing? I hope everybody is enjoying all of these sales, and it's just Monday. We have so much further to go. I can't wait for you guys to see all of the fun things we have in store this week. It's gonna be good. Okay, so we have all of our little beaded sections ready to go. Everybody has a wrapped loop on either end, and we are just very, very quickly going to go ahead and connect all of these with some jump rings. And I'm not spending a whole lot of time on this part because I want to do some knotting with the cords, and I really kind of want to focus on that because it's a knot that once you get really good at it, you use it in so many different ways. So I'm just opening up some jump rings here. So I've linked together two 6mm jump rings I'm gonna thread one of my beaded things on one side, beaded links, and one, no! Let's try that again, shall we? I'm gonna thread on our beaded sections here, one on one side and one on the other, before we close this jump ring. Okay, so there's that. That's gonna hang just like that, absolutely beautiful. And then use some more jump rings here, just to link the rest of these together. One day you're not late. Never late, never late. You're here, you're good to go. Oh, I'm the one who can't seem to keep up tonight. I have a case of the dropsies, apparently, when it comes to holding all my beads. All right. Do you ever have one of those days where it's just like everything you touch, you drop it? I have those days frequently, actually. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put 6mm jump rings on the ends as well. This is going to be our connection point to our black cord. And we're going to work on all of that here in just a second. Okay, so here's what we've got so far. Okay, we have our beaded section all linked together with some jump rings. We've got 2 jump rings here in the center so that everything hangs nicely. Okay, that's going to be the center point of our necklace. Now, for the length of our necklace, we're going to use a combination of cords here. So we're going to use 2 pieces of black leather cord. Let me give you a measurement. Yours doesn't have to be exactly like mine, but we want our necklace to be fully adjustable. And so I am using quite a bit of this cord. There's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so I've got 2 16-inch pieces of the black leather cord here. Okay, and we are going to take our cord. Can't remember last night when I did this what was the easiest. I think we're going to sit this to the side for a second, and we're going to come in and use our flat piece of cord. Okay, so Ramona says you have a birthday and fall apart. It's the cake doing it. It totally is. Totally. Blame everything on cake, right? It's always the cake's fault. And it'll be the cake's fault for the rest of the week because I have enough to last. Okay, so we have our cord here. Now, I have used a leather punch to create a hole on either end of my cord. And if you do not have a leather punch, that's okay. You can take a nail and a hammer. I know that sounds pretty rough, but this cord is really sturdy stuff, okay? And you can just punch through the leather with your hammer and your nail, no problem. And then if you need to stretch that hole just a little bit, I would use a beading awl and wiggle it in there and stretch it so that it opens it up quite a bit. You want the hole to be big enough to thread your leather cord through, your smaller leather cord, but not necessarily so big that it draws attention to it. Okay, we want this hole to just kind of be part of the background of the piece. And as far as what this is all about, this is going to be the neck piece. So this is actually going to lay flat up against your neck. Okay, and the designer piece that I saw, they used, instead of using this beautiful leather cord, they actually used what looked to be denim. And I thought, okay, I see where they're going with that. That's pretty cool, but I wonder if it would work with leather cord and a flat leather band like this. And of course it does, right? So that's what we're going to use. We're going to take one of our pieces of leather cord, the black leather, and we're going to push it through the hole. Actually, we want to come from the underneath. So we want to come from the back to the front, which it really doesn't make any difference, to be completely honest with you. Okay, and now we want to bring it down to find the middle, okay, and just bring your two ends together. Okay, we're going to create a Wanda says 11 makes Sarah do complicated addition, right? You guys, 11 is my ruler. For those of you who have no idea what she's talking about, I have a ruler that only goes to 11. It's the weirdest ever. Okay. So with our cord, we're going to create one of those sliding knots that we have done several times, but we have done this with two pieces of leather going in opposite directions. For this, our pieces of leather are going in the same direction. Okay, so all we want is we want our sliding knot to work up and down these two cords that are running in the same direction. Okay, so in order to do that, we're going to do this the exact same way that we have done it previously, but a slight little variation on it. Okay, so one of your cords you want to lay it out nice and flat, and the other cord you want to take it and kind of fold it in half, okay, over the top of the other cord. So we're making like this arc with our cord, just like that. Okay, we're making a U shape. This cord's on the bottom, this one's over the top. Now we're going to take our thumb and our first finger. I know, Jane. Jane says I wouldn't know how to use a 12-inch ruler. It's really weird. I've used an 11-inch ruler for so long. It is very strange. I have a 12-inch ruler glued, or not glued, but taped down to my work surface, and it's weird. Okay, so we're going to take where our cord is coming across here, making this little U shape over the top of our straightened cord. We're going to take our thumb and our first finger, and we're going to pick all of that up in a pinch. Okay, so we have everything pinched together here. What we've really created is just a little loop. Okay, we're holding that loop together. Now we have this short end here, and the short end is what we're going to create our knot with. So we're going to take the short end and we're going to bundle around. See what I'm doing? I'm just creating a loop, two loops. Actually, I want a little bit bigger. I want a little bit more to work with, so I'm going to adjust it just a little bit. Give myself a little bit longer. Okay, so I'm taking this cord, I'm bundling it around. There's one loop around, there's two loops around. Okay, so I've just made kind of a little coil out of my leather, right? Now I'm going to take the tail end, and you have to really kind of use your fingers here to hold everything together. I'm holding those coils out of my leather in place. I'm going to take the tail, I'm going through all the coils that we made, through the center of all of those, okay? And then we want to come out the other side and through the loop that we made, okay? And this is what you're going to end up with, and you're like, what is that? You have to trust me. You have to give it a little wiggle, and you're not pulling hard, okay? I'm just giving it a little wiggle here and a little wiggle there until I kind of roll the cord into that barrel knot shape, right? And it doesn't take, you don't have to like pull really hard. You just want to manipulate those loops that you made, squeezing them down, pulling one direction and then kind of pulling the other direction, right? Until you have your knot, right? So if you look at it at first and you pull that through all those loops and you're looking at it and it looks like a hot mess, it's okay. Don't panic. You didn't do it wrong. It's just that you need to kind of coax that knot into the shape that you want it to be. Marianne says, what kind of black leather cord are you using? I am using some black leather cord. It's over on the Jessie James Beads website. It is called Black Noir, I believe. Let me look real quick. It is, let's see, let me scroll down, give you just a second, because that's a good question, and I should have had it written down, and I didn't, and I apologize for that. So I'm going to look for you real quick. Okay, it's Noir Leather Lace Cord. It's on the second page of the cords over on, if you're searching just by cord, over on the Jessie James Beads website. Okay, so now what do we have? Well, what we have is we have a big loop here, and we have a knot here that is adjustable. So we can slide this up and down, okay, to adjust the length on one side of our necklace, okay? So we're not using a clasp at all. All right, so now I'm just kind of sliding my knot down close here because I need some more length of this. We're gonna do another knot. And this time we're gonna take our knot and we're gonna tie it to one of the jump rings on our necklace. And we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna create a sliding knot, but we're gonna slide this one all the way down to the jump ring. So just bear with me, okay? So we're gonna take our cord, same cord, we're working on the exact same cord, okay? We've thread that through our jump ring, okay? You wanna fold it in half, okay? Or close to half, whatever. You're gonna adjust all of it, so it doesn't matter really. You just wanna be sure that you've got plenty to work with here. Okay, now we're gonna do the exact same thing, except we're going in the opposite direction this time. So we're taking our tail, creating another one of those little curve over the straight section, right? Pick that up with your fingers in a little pinch, okay? Now we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna take this cord and we're gonna bundle 1, 2, okay? If you can get 3, go for 3. 2 is plenty, okay? Now we have our little tail. I'm gonna take the tail and I'm gonna slide it into all of the little coiled loops that we made, right? And we want to pull. And again, see how loose? But we're gonna give it a little love. We're gonna wiggle it down. Whoops. Wiggle it with your fingers, okay? And now we don't necessarily want this one to be adjustable. It's the same kind of knot just so that it looks the same. But what we want with this one is we want to slide this one all the way down to our jump ring, as close as we can get it, okay? And then you really want to kind of tug and pull to tighten up your knot, because this knot is not this knot is not gonna move. In fact, if you want to come down in this knot and add a little bit of glue, you can, okay? And we just want it to come right down next to the jump ring. See what we did? Okay, that jump ring is just right there in the knot. We're going to trim this off here in just a little bit, and we're also going to trim this one off just a little bit, but I want to show you, okay, we have one side that is adjustable, right? We're going to be able to adjust both sides, and there won't be the need for any clasp for this. Becky says, I'm late, but I'll watch the replay. Well, Becky, you're not too late. Actually, we're just creating some knots here on our necklace, and I'm gonna do another set of knots because we have to attach the other side of our necklace. So you're still getting all the good stuff. Okay, so we're gonna repeat that whole process, okay? We have this over on this side. Now we need to repeat this process on this side so that we attach our necklace on the other side. So we're just going to take our leather cord, this thin leather lace, okay, pull it through the hole that we have on our band, okay, and, oh, sorry guys, uh-oh, I don't want you to fall, okay, sorry, I hit the tripod. Okay, now we're going to do the exact same thing. So what we want to do is we want to create our adjustable knot over on this side. So we're going to take, this one piece is not going to move, that's our straight piece, okay? And then we're going to take our short piece, which is actually not, but we're folding it in half over the long piece, right? Just like that. Take your first finger and your thumb and pick all of that up in a little pinch, okay? Now, your short end of your cord, you want to take and bundle around 2 or 3 times. So there's 1 loop around, 2 loops around, okay, and 3 loops around. Okay, so we have 3 little loops. Now I'm going to take this short little tail and I'm going to go back through all of those little loops and out through the loop that we had in our hand. Okay, and you can see it looks like a hot mess. That's okay. It's still okay because we're going to adjust it. We're going to pull a little bit one direction and a little bit the other direction, right? Until we get it worked down into the knot shape that we want. Okay, and if you don't like the way that that knot turned out, you can undo it and do it again. The good thing about this knot, because it's a sliding knot, other than the one down here where we don't want this one to move, there's not any glue involved. So you can untie this knot several times until you get it into that exact shape that you want. Okay, so we've got our adjustable knot on this one. I'm going to pull down here just to kind of get all of that out of the way, and we're going to work with this end now. Okay, so same thing. We're going to come down here to the jump ring that's attached to all of our beads, and we're going to thread the tail end through there. Okay, and we're going to pull it up about halfway. Okay, and again, same thing, we're just going the other direction. So I'm going to take this piece and create a curve, a U shape over our straight piece that is now running this direction. Okay, pick all of that up, pinch it, pick it all up. Okay, my cord is not quite long enough, so I'm going to adjust just a little bit. I like to have a good length of this to work with. If it's too short, sometimes the knot just doesn't come out very well. Okay, so now I'm going to take this cord and I'm going to bundle around these once, twice. If you can go a third time, go for it. If you can't, that's okay. All right, there's our little bundle. I'm going to take my tail. I'm going to stick it through all 3 of those and then pull. And again, kind of a mess, but we're going to wiggle it around and make it the shape we want it to be, and then we're going to bring it down to our jump ring. Okay, so now we're just going to slide it all the way down. And if you want to add glue, you absolutely can. Okay, but you want to bring that right down to that jump ring as close as you possibly can. All right, now I'm going to adjust. I really want both sides of my necklace to be the same length. However, this one is not quite. And it's because my tail here, this tail is a little long. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to undo this one and do it again, and try not to have such a long tail. So you can see you can very easily make your adjustments before you settle on it. And I want both sides to be as even as possible. And then you can always come in and trim. Afterwards, you know, you can trim your tails up. All right, let's do this again. All right, so this is what we've got. Creating our little arch shape. I'm gonna pick that up with my fingers. Okay. This time I'm working with a little short tail. It's still a little too short for me. Okay. We're gonna bundle around. Okay, take that tail and try to wiggle it back through there. And if you have trouble getting your tail end of your cord to go back through your bundles, you can always use your pliers here, or a pair of tweezers to grab the end of that cord. because it can be a little elusive, particularly if you're working with a really short piece here. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to adjust this so that there. Now we don't have a really long piece. Now I'm going to slide all this down. There we go. Now I feel like my two pieces, those are pretty close. This one will be, I'll have to trim that one off just a little bit to make them the same length. So I'm going to come in with my cutter tool. Okay. And I'm going to adjust my knots here. And I know you can't see the entire necklace at the moment because it's bigger than the screen here, but I will show it to you on a bust here in just a second. Now I'm just doing some little maintenance. I just want to trim up the tails so that they're even on both sides, and you know, and you can trim those really, really short if you want to. You don't have to leave those long. There's really no reason for them. If you wanted to leave them extra long and add beads to them and tie some more knots in them, you absolutely can do that. You just want to be sure that you don't cut the sliding one right at the knot. You want to be sure that you leave yourself about maybe 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, just in case your knot were to come undone or start to loosen up. That way you can get in there and grab that tail and kind of tighten everything down again. Okay. All right, so our necklace is complete. It's a weird one. I'm going to show you what it looks like on the bust, and we're going to talk about the functionality of this, okay? And then I'm going to let you guys go and get on with the rest of your shopping. We've got about 20 minutes until the sale is going to switch over, and you guys will be able to pick up the leather cord here. So let me get a bust and put this on it, and we'll talk about this a little bit. I feel like I need to trim some more cord. All right, I'm going to turn you around. Okie dokie. Hey guys. Okay, so I'm just going to adjust the necklace just a little bit more. Okay, so looking at the necklace from the front, there's not really anything super different about this, okay? It's just a leather cord necklace. It's a completely adjustable necklace, except that instead of it just being one whole solid layer that you're gonna adjust, you can adjust it on either side, which is cool, right? Makes it just a little bit different. But what makes this even more different is the addition of this piece, right? And that piece, as weird as it may be, it actually does serve a function, which I think is cool, right? You can take something that is beautiful, because that's definitely a different kind of look that you add to this piece, but it also means that your necklace is going to lay nice and flat on your neck. Instead of having the cords coming across your neck, you've got this flat piece of leather. Now, why does that matter? Well, it matters for a couple of reasons. The first reason is just for plain comfort, right? But the second reason is if you've got a big wide piece like this going across your back, you can add heavier beads down here, right? It distributes the weight of your heavier beads from down here up here along a wider area than just a thin layer of cord. Your thin layer of cord, if you add heavy beads to that, you're going to feel that by the end of the day, right? You work all day long, you've got your necklace on. By the end of the day, you've got a headache, and you know, it's because your jewelry is heavy, right? This cord is going to redistribute all of the weight from the beads and then all of the goodies that you have hanging here, and it's going to take a lot of that extra pressure off of your neck. So it's definitely an interesting, maybe not the most beautiful in the whole world design, but I think it was a smart one, and whoever came up with it was definitely thinking outside the box and definitely was aware of the fact that, you know, at the end of the day, people are sitting and they're looking at their computer screen or whatever it is that they're doing, and they're at a position where that jewelry can really cause major problems, right? I mean, as silly as it sounds, putting my hair in a ponytail for all day gives me a headache. It's the same with the jewelry. So having the addition of this, not only was it pretty, but it was functional. So I give them props for that. But let's look at the beads. All of that, let's look at the beads. The beads are the best part. I mean, really. And they're absolutely gorgeous, right? And you can mix up the cord. You don't have to use the same colors that I used. I just used what I had on hand, and I'm a huge fan of this one right here. So if you want to add that to your cart, it makes great jewelry. It's really, really beautiful. But yeah, so there you go. I've given you an interesting design. Not only have I given you an interesting design, but I have showed you some adjustable knots in a different way than we've ever done before, right? We usually do the adjustable knots, 2 knots on 1 round, right? And this shows you how you can do it on individual sections, which is cool, because then you can create necklaces in cord sections where each section is individually adjustable, which is really kind of neat if you think about it. And then you can add your ceramic beads to it. You can add whatever element that you want to it, and each link is going to be adjustable, so you can change it up, right? It's like convertible jewelry, right? Remember Transformers? It's like Transformer jewelry. I don't know. Okay, you guys, I know it's been a weird one tonight, but I feel like the beads just really like make it, you know, they make it. And you guys can use your cord in a million different ways. I'm just giving you one example of what is possible. You can take those wide strips and use them for lanyards, right? It doesn't have to be a necklace. It could be a lanyard. It could be a badge. If you have to wear a badge for work and you get tired of that at the end of the day, you know, that piece of leather is gonna kind of change things up for you, I think. So I hope that it was a fun design that you guys enjoyed. If not, at least you're gonna take away some knots and be able to make some fun jewelry that way. Definitely, you guys, we're coming up on 7:48 p.m. We're a little about 11 minutes. My clock just turned. So just a few minutes away from 30% off cord. So if any of the cord in the shop looks exciting to you, add that to your cart. Grab yourself some of these Designed by Me beads because they are so reasonably priced and they are so gorgeous. Take advantage of that, you guys. And that's not it. And we're not done yet. So there is also, let's see, 12 a.m. Things are going to change again at midnight. So we are going to have sales going all around the clock, you guys, all around the clock. So check back in often. If you are not following us over on Jessie James Beads, do that. Click that little button that says follow so that you can stay up to date when all of the sales change for the entire week. So many goodies coming your way. And in the meantime, I'm going to let you go so that you can do your shopping, add some fun things to your cart, and I will see you guys again first thing in the morning. We are rolling on 11 a.m. Eastern time. I'm going to have another fun project for you guys. In the mornings, we're going to keep it kind of quick and simple and fun and easy, and then in the evening, we're going to take it a little step further. So that's what you can look forward to tomorrow morning. In the meantime, enjoy the sales and have a good rest of the night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.